Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hey, so I think I'm only going to do one live today outside of the one I did earlier. I shared if you were on the last live about a couple hours ago, I think now time is going by so fast that I was going to try to do a recap and review of two shows today. But I think I'm going to go ahead and stick to Rhoa for right now. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about the other show. And I'll get more into that a little bit later on in the live. But welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome to you as well. I hope that you will subscribe, become part of the family. We would so love to have you. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up if you appreciate the recap and review and discussion about the highly anticipated first episode, season 15 of Rhoa. I am so excited for this. And yeah, I was ready for it. I really was. I think I was ready. By last season, midway for the next season to come, because I didn't really know what was going to happen next, right? So I had to jot down some notes because there was so much that was packed into this past episode, and I wanted to make sure that I hit everything. So if you see me jotting back and forth, I'm checking my notes, checking them once, checking them twice, making sure that I've got everything that I wanted to cover. But feel free to, jot down in the chat if you're here live with me, what your thoughts were about the last episode, or when I say last episode, really the first episode of the season. Did you enjoy it? Was it all you were so waiting for? Or are you still a little kind of on the iffy side about how this is going to go? For me, like I said, I'm excited. So go ahead and jot that down in the chat, your thoughts about that. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and jot that in the comment section. And I guess we can go ahead and just get right on into it. Okay, so one thing I love about the new seasons as they come about, we are getting a chance to see a little bit of what all the ladies are doing, right, in the home life. I really appreciate that. That's something I like about Rhoa as well, is the warmth of the show. I mean, obviously there's a lot of clapback, there's a lot of shade, there's a lot of fun and all that kind of stuff. There are some hard moments that happen, but it happens to be one of my favorite franchises for showing warmth and togetherness. Like, I really feel like these ladies definitely have connections, not just on the show, but off the show. And it does show when that happens. So that's really nice to see. And the camaraderie that's been built, with Sanya coming back for her second season, because her premiere season was last year. And I really like Sanya and her husband and her family. They were a lot of fun, but I feel like, she seems more part of the crew now. So that just makes me really happy to see that they were building relationships, obviously off camera as well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And so we're just going to go roll on into it. So of course we do get to see the first clips of, about to be some drama. And that's about the 40th party or 40th birthday party for Ross, which is Sanya's husband, if you don't already know. And they have decided to do a Harlem Nights theme, which I think was an absolute spot on theme to do. I really enjoyed all of the festivities there. I wish I was there, quite frankly. It looked really good. And, Sonya had a lot of expectations placed upon her about this party, as, she got clowned a lot last season about the lacklusterness of her get-togethers. But nevertheless, we already see that something's about to pop off big. Now, we've also hearing some things outside of the show before the season started. Certain elements like, Montel from Love, Love and something Huntsville, Love and Marriage Huntsville. Sorry, I don't watch that show. I should probably start though. But yeah, Love and Marriage Huntsville. And he's apparently dating Sheree. So that was a huge point that was going to be addressed in this season for sure. I'm hearing little tidbits that they may not be together. I don't have that confirmed. So, we'll see how that plays out through the rest of the season. But for right now, we're just going to enjoy it. And I don't know about you, but one thing I really, it's kind of an in-between. I don't mind getting a little bit of breadcrumbs to know what's going to happen for the next season, but I hate when you see the whole show out in social media before you get a chance to really enjoy the show. So yeah, I tried not to watch too much in advance, but sometimes it's kind of hard to do that, right? To find out things that, may not be the case when the show is airing. So, hopefully, we'll get to see a really good full breadth of what's going on with that relationship with Sheree Montel, but I have heard that they probably not still together. So yeah, there's that. But so we know there's going to be some hot stuff going on in that party, and so I love the clips. We get to see a little bit of the glam for the ladies, and yeah, it's on and popping. Everybody seemed to show up in the right attire, and they participated, and I enjoyed that. And then we go on to really getting the kickoff with Sheree Montel, because that's what everybody's pretty much talking about, right? And the interesting fact that they were together or dating, and and having a relationship. Sheree does share that she really is enjoying her time with Montel, and that she wished that he would actually live a little closer, because he's in Huntsville, so that's a bit of a drive from Atlanta, and yeah, she would like to have him be a little closer. Now apparently he was in Atlanta, and he was doing some, I guess, modeling for the magazine for Upscale. And so there's a lot of, you could tell, connection between the two of them. If it's, faked or not, I don't know. But it seemed like they were really interested in each other, into each other, if I could speak and get the words out. But yeah, so there's a lot of complimenting back and forth. Not Sonia, but Sheree, she also shares that, hey, we've got that party, the 40th for Ross. And, Montel asks, well, who's going to be there, and she starts running off the list of the names of the ladies. She brings up Candy, and he says, oh, okay, the one that thought I was an opportunist. Candy does a lot of social media time, let's just say. And I guess that she had shared her thoughts about that at some point, and he wasn't too thrilled. So he's not looking forward to them and seeing Candy, or Todd for that matter, either. He said something about their height. So yeah, it was already shade right off the bat. So you already know this is going to be a challenging navigation here for this situation. But nevertheless, they seem to be really happy in their conversation and Sheree's house. And let me tell you, Sheree has a beautiful home. I know it took many years for Chateau Sheree to come to be, but my goodness, when you look at the house, you kind of almost forget about that, because it is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. Sheree has great taste, and yeah, I just love when we actually get to go and sit in her house for a little bit, because it's really, really beautiful. Also, More Manor is beautiful as well. So but yeah, Sheree, well, she really did that thing. She's great at the design effects. So we also have, let me see. Okay, so to make sure I didn't miss anything on that. But yeah, we talked about that, of course. And she wanted to give it a little bit of a surprise to Montel. And of course, Montel's idea of surprise is already going, where it's going. And she kind of just laughs it off. No, but what the surprise was is that she actually had a chef come to the house to cook them a nice meal. And it really looked great. Of course, Montel thought it was something else. And then Sheree then commenced to share with us that she, in her confessional, at some point was going to do a threesome with her husband, her ex-husband, Bob. And I just don't see that, and I was really shocked about the fact that that was even a conversation. I don't know. And it threw me with Bob too. But anyway, she goes as far as to say that, hey, it didn't happen. He ended up doing it with somebody else. So yeah, there's that. But whatever. But that just threw me. I don't know if it threw y'all, but I guess I didn't see it. I just didn't see it. But yeah, so that ends up pretty much wrapping up, kind of the opening between Montel and Sheree, and they talk about her working out, and just a lot of, compliments flowing left and right. Sheree does let us know that, hey, regardless of what you're hearing out in the blog world or in social media, he treats me with utmost respect, and she's just very happy and just having a good time with him. So, hey, if she's having a good time, she's having a good time. Not that I would think she would tell us different if it was different, but, at the end of the day, she's saying she's enjoying herself. So there's that. And then we move on to Candy and the Candy Coated Clique. We haven't seen them in a while. Well, let's take that back. We haven't seen Carmen in a while, but Don Juan, he was in actually the R&B Divas, and that whole scandalous situation that went on there. He's talking a little bit too much, to SWV, but we're just going to digress. But anyways, they did have a conversation. Basically, it's kind of getting together, and Carmen seems to be doing well. well. She had started off her own business that I believe that Candy had shared some seasons ago that she kind of invested in and helped her with. And so she's doing really great. I don't know if she's insurance or something to that extent, but whatever it is, Carmen looks great. I wonder if she's still the arch nemesis of Candy's, and I can't Candy's mom, right? Her name right now. That's so bad. But yeah, so she seems to, they didn't, it was no, what is her name? Mama Joyce. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I forgot that. But yeah, I'm just wondering, because every time I see Carmen, I just see flashbacks of of Mama Joyce and Carmen in that fight, or soon to be fight in that one bridal shop they were in. Crazy some seasons ago. They also do talk a little bit about Sheree, and they bring up about She by Sheree. I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to get anything from the website. I did actually go out to the website to check it out, but at that time it was kind of like, shut down because according to Sheree, there was so much interest that, yeah, it maybe somewhat semi crashed and they just had to work on getting it back up. And I hadn't gone back out since, but I did see at least some of the pics of some of the things that she had. I know there was a lot of scandals surrounding the items, whether it looked more like Sheen or was it really hers, or the price point. There was a lot of things going on. But yeah, Sheree seems to be happy, and she seems to still be moving in the direction of her She by Sheree. Entrepreneurship is a very hefty thing to go through. Entrepreneur myself, and so I know there's a lot that goes into all of the things that you need to take care of, whether you have a team or don't have a team. So at the end of the day, I guess if Sheree at some point gets it all up and running, it will be good to go. And I guess we'll be here for it when it happens. I don't know. But at least she has some fashion, right? At least she has some fashion. But nevertheless, Candy and Don Juan and Carmen are talking about, I guess Candy wanted to or was trying to help Sheree out a little bit, because Candy, she's popping up a business left and right, front and center. She's got lots of things going on, whether she's doing music, plays, restaurants, you name it. She's got a lot going on. And so she has a lot of experience in starting things and, having a lot of those things actually be not only effective, but successful as well. So at the end of the day, it's been pretty interesting that she, I guess that Sheree wouldn't take her up on that, but, Sheree says, look, I got a team. I know people, blah, blah, blah. So it didn't work out nevertheless, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, but it was pretty funny. Anyways, so, Sheree, not Sheree, I'm sorry, Kim, Candy, everybody's like names just like running through my head right now. But so Candy ends up, basically, saying, hey, look, I love her to death, but, sometimes things don't always move the way they need to move in order to be successful. So, we'll just have to see, but I'm not giving up on Sheree. So, we'll just have to see. I'm sure there's be more to come, spring, summer, fall, something like that. So then we move on to Kenya actually stopping by the studio as well. And we're going to have a little moment of a kiki moment with her. And Don Juan excuses himself. Carmen stays back. Moneta comes back this season as well. So I'm really happy about the fact that Moneta is, kind of a friend to his show at this point. I remember Moneta in one of her breakout reality shows that she did some years ago. I think it was something to do with ex-wives or something to that extent. And so I was glad to see that she's still going. She seems very happy, very, very successful in her current life status. And so I'm happy for her. I think she's a very calming spirit, quite frankly. And I do like a calming spirit. Now, honestly, I miss Cynthia. And I don't know if you guys do or not. If you don't, that's fine. I understand. But if you do, drop that down in the chat or the comment section, because I would love to know, do you miss Cynthia? Because I do. I like having a calming situation. Although Cynthia, she didn't sit there and take anything either. She just wasn't always ratchet all the time. So I appreciate when she, just the calmness of Cynthia. So I'm looking forward to her. I think that she's supposed to be actually cameoing as well. So I'm hoping that we will get to see her. But yeah, nevertheless, I'm excited for that. So then we get into it pretty quickly as far as what word on the street is and how the streets are talking, because they always seem to be talking in Atlanta, apparently. But yeah, Candy then shares, and Moneta pretty much seconds that motion, that there's a lot of talk going on about Montel and whether or not he's being completely faithful to Miss Sheree, and only Miss Sheree here in Atlanta. Apparently, Candy is sharing that, hey, she is aware of the fact that there is somebody out there that he may have been talking to. So that's what the streets are talking, right? This is what they're hearing. Everything's alleged for that matter. But yeah, so we'll see how all of that goes. But interesting. I'm sure all this is going to explode within the next episode or two as well. It's also in that time that Kenya decides to share that Montel kind of low key tried to contact her on social media, and this would be by way of DMing her on Instagram. So that was kind of an interesting notion, but I do think we heard a little bit about something to the fact that Montel had been maybe trying to reach out. But, at the end of the day, she didn't accept the message on Instagram. So when she goes out to her Instagram, she decides to go ahead and hit the accept button, and then you don't see the message anymore. So apparently the message was removed. So we don't really know what was said. It could have been, hi, how you doing? We just don't really know. But nevertheless, I think at some point we hear, if it's not mentioned in the actual episode, I believe it might have been mentioned in Watch What Happens Live, where I think the message was like 2 years ago. So yeah. So who knows whatever it could have said. It may not have been really much of anything. But in any event, that's what was the hat. They also talk about the fact that Moneta apparently has introduced Kenya to possibly a new boo. His name is spelled ROI. So I think that's Roy. And yeah, she seems pretty smitten with Roy. Yeah, they met at a party. He seems really nice. She feels like a woman, she shares. So she's just super excited about it. This is probably the honestly, the happiest I've seen Kenya with anybody, because this wedding, or marriage rather, situation with Mark Daly turning into a forever divorce is ridiculous. And sometimes this is what happens, right? There's things that you got to deal with custody, finances, all these things. But it really does feel like she's probably been divorcing Mark longer than she was actually married to him. And I think that was the same with Bethany Frankel as well. I'm pretty sure it was the same, that she was going through a divorce with her ex a lot longer than she was married to him. So yeah, I'm hoping that there's going to be some resolve to that really soon. I believe that when Kenya was on Watch What Happens Live the same night on Sunday, she was actually on there with T-Pain. And I think this is in the after show where she had shared that, yeah, they're still working through things. They had some type of mediation. It did not go well, or did not end well. Most certainly didn't end in any resolve. So they're still going through it. And, at this point, I'm hoping that she'll get some kind of resolution soon, because people need to just move on at this point, right? If the custody situation is worked out, at the end of the day, I don't know if there's a prenup involved or not, but, I'm just kind of feeling like, look, you either come in with what you came in with, or you leave what you came out with, especially for that short period of time. Now, if we're talking like, 10 plus years or whatever, then we got a different conversation to have here. But as far as how little time that they were married, honestly, I deal with the custody and then let's move on. Let's not try to be taking someone's home and all this other kind of foolishness. Let's just move on. So I'm really happy for Kenya. She looks like she's very happy, truly interested in this Roy guy. So whether or not this is someone that will continue to be or not, we'll have to see. She's probably just hanging out with him a little bit, because I kind of feel like she wants to make sure that everything is squared away first with this divorce for Mark before she really jumps into anything super serious. So yeah, here's wishing and hoping the best for Kenya. But yeah, so they do talk about that. And I think that kind of wraps up their conversation really in that point. Now, going back to the Don Juan and Carmen and Candy conversation, they did mention something about Candy Coated Nights coming back. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. If we're going to actually see another Bravo show regarding that, because if you remember a few years ago, that was one of the spinoffs that Candy actually had put together, was that Candy Coated Nights thing. I never watched it. I did see a couple of previews for it, but that was about it. So I have no idea. If you happen to have caught it when it was going, go ahead and drop that down in the chat or the comment section, because I mean, I have no idea how that was. You know, Candy's done so many spinoffs. I mean, honestly, she's a Bravo spinoff queen. And, you know, I particularly do like the family spinoff shows that she does. Like, she did one where they went to some ski resorts some years ago. That was actually, I liked it. It was fun. It was a lot of people. And it was on the heels of all the drama of what had happened in the season prior in Rhoa, which of course we all knew Mama Joyce was not a fan of Todd, and she was letting it be known how much a fan she was not of Todd. And so it was really interesting to see how they came together or didn't come together. Apparently they didn't come together that well, but I enjoyed that show. And of course, you know, the R&B diva show. She's actually did one where it was about entrepreneurship, I believe, and, you know, kind of getting individuals, and that may not have lasted very long, but it was actually a really nice idea. So, you know, you're getting these up and coming entrepreneurs who are really learning from key people that are in entrepreneurial spaces, you know, to learn how to better put their businesses together and such. So I'm all about that, bonding and building when it comes to, you know, entrepreneurship. So that was a show I actually appreciated too. I think I watched a couple episodes of that, but not, yeah, I don't think it lasts more than a season, if that long. So if you happen to catch any of those besides the Old Lady Gang, then go ahead and drop those down in the comment section. And I know the Old Lady Gang, that was at one season. I got to really get into that show. So I was kind of a little like, oh, okay, well, no need to invest any more time in that, you know, but I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. And it was nice to see another side to Candy besides what we see on Rhoa, and, you know, even with Escape and everything, I enjoyed it. So, you know, we'll just have to see how things play out later on and what the next spinoff is going to be for Miss Candy Burruss, because, you know, like I said, she is the spinoff queen. So then we go moving right along from that area, and then we start talking about, where were we at? Well, there's a few things we talked about also in that conversation. Apparently, there was still some issue that Sheree had with Candy, because Candy's been doing spoofs on YouTube and social media. You know, I caught a couple of them. I thought they were kind of funny myself, but, you know, Sheree's not too thrilled about that. And, you know, that was something she had mentioned in last season's reunion about the fact that, oh, yeah, you're talking about me all the time. I guess I'm good clickbait. And, you know, it is kind of funny. And I like the whole theatrical element that Candy put into it. But yeah, it was fun. And so, like she said, you know, you want to be clickbait, you'll be clickbait. So we talked about that. And I think that was kind of the gist of it for the most part. Everybody seems to be doing well, and nothing else really more to report. Then we move on to Sonia and her family, and apparently the whole clan is still staying at one house, and I don't know how long that's going to last, but I happened to see a live that Sonia was on where she shared that that wasn't going to be lasting for too long, so we'll have to see how things play out in the season. But yeah, good on you to be able to do that. I'm from the school of the fact that there can only be so many adults in one household. So for me, it doesn't work. But, you know, some people can do the whole, you know, have everybody, the mama, the grandmother, the aunt, the uncle, the cousins, everybody living in the same roof. Not my thing. I like space. I like everyone to have their own space. I think that we tend to enjoy each other more with their space and time apart, at least in the physical sense at times. But, you know, she really does enjoy the connectingness of that, of all her family members under one house. So I think it's a wonderful, you know, Rockwell moment, but is it really feasible long term? I don't know about that. Now, I did hear that she said that they were looking at maybe 1 to 2 years to do that, and they hadn't quite made it to the second year mark. I don't even know if they made it to 1 year. They might have made it to 1 year mark, but they hadn't made it to the second year mark. So she wasn't too keen on getting into that longer than the time frame that they needed to. Now, of course, there's also a little bit of ruffling going on. You know, last season, everybody seemed to be a little bit more copacetic. But yeah, not so much, right? We got a little bit of issue going on. So apparently, Sanya's was it brother-in-law, her sister's husband, is trying to get into real estate space in Atlanta, and he's having a little bit of trouble kind of breaking in. Which, when you're new to something, it can take some time to get to know people, get connections, and get to the space that you need to in order to start to get some prosperity going. So she thought it would be a good idea. She needs Sanya to make him one of her assistants to kind of help her with all the many things that she does. She does podcasts, she's got the show, she's got, I think she's on ESPN, and she's got a lot of other things, projects going on. So it keeps him really, really busy. The unfortunate situation in that is that her sister doesn't seem to be thrilled with that. Now, her sister is her hairdresser for the most part, if I'm not mistaken. And so, of course, Sanya really does come to rely on everybody and shares with us in her confessional. Not only she relies on everybody, but that, she's basically what everybody is, got their employment coming from. Her mother and her father were managing her at one time as well. So everybody, it's been a real group family thing. And I think Sanya was a little bit perplexed, surprised also at the fact that her sister was kind of popping off about, you don't understand boundaries. She tells her that you don't get boundaries. We eat at a certain time. We have things that we need to do as well. Basically he can't be at your beck and call. That's it. And the thing is, when you're someone's assistant, sometimes that's exactly what it means. But yeah, her sister is not having it. And so you can see the wearing going on there. And oh my gosh, it is so warm in here. I would throw on the fan, but I don't want to interrupt the sound quality here on this StreamYard, because sometimes it can be a little like that. But yeah, it is so warm. And how are you guys doing where you are in your neck of the woods? Because my goodness, our area just seems to understand whether it wants to be summer, winter, spring, all in the same month. It's so all over the place. I mean, it could be 20 degrees one minute, 100 degrees the next. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, there's that. So yeah, we get to see what appears to be a little bit of ruffling going on. And yeah, apparently there was a huge fight. And I think that fight carried on beyond what we saw, because if you saw Sonya's look on her face, it was priceless. It was definitely priceless. So then we go ahead and move right on into those cute little moments. One where we got to see Kenya and Brooklyn, her little girl. She is so cute. Oh my gosh. So, Brooklyn is apparently doing really good in school. Kenya is bringing over her some dresses, and she lots of dresses, and she just lights up. She's so happy, so respectful. I mean, just a all around cute little girl. And with Kenya's situation with her mother and relationship, which is not obviously an existing one, I just love so much how Kenya is with her daughter. Oh my gosh, she is such she's everything to her. And she pours into her so much. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see. I love that softer side of Kenya. I love when Kenya does her clapbacks too, but I love that softer side. I appreciate that relationship she has with her daughter. Mother-daughter relationships are not always easy. So this, I was so excited to see. I'm glad that she's, able to show Brooklyn more. Again, there was some issues a few seasons ago with Mark, I think, trying to pull rank a little bit about how much viewing time she would be on, whereas before it was not a problem. But we digress. It was really nice to see her now. She is so adorable. Her little girl is just super, super cute. And yeah, it was so nice to see. And then, of course, we are also slipping into the conversation that really was and wasn't. Let's put it this way. Now, if you remember earlier in the episode, during the conversation that Kenya and Moneta and Candy had, Candy also, not only she mentioned about what was talking on the street, she also mentioned what was going on in her home. And the issue that she was having was Todd apparently has a whole lot of movies that he is putting together, and he's looking for Candy to be, producing those. And, Candy's got so many things going on with all her TV shows or plays, music, you name it. And she doesn't really have the time. And, at this point, she also is looking for that, togetherness time, that family time, which is really interesting considering the fact that Todd was the one that had the problem with it last season, and Candy seemed to be, it is what it is. And now you see that I guess Candy's now all of a sudden upset about it. I don't know. But Kenya did share, look, as someone and the experience that I had going through the divorce that I'm having, I don't want that for you. So, take some words of advice, sister to sister, please make some time to spend with your husband, because apparently that is an issue. But it also seems like Todd is doing what he needs to do. So now he's ramping up in his professional career, I guess, at this point. And so we'll have to see how the tables turn with that. But nevertheless, they have a little bit of family time there, but not really. Todd is in the laptop working on whatever it is he's working on, scene sets, whatever the case may be. And Candy's like, look, I can't do all this by myself. She's actually acapelloing it in the kitchen. And, he's listening, but is he really focusing? Not so much. Not so much. But, nevertheless, yeah, I'm hoping that they will get that together. I kind of feel like they will. I don't know. What do y'all think? If you think that they're going to be good, drop that down. I'd like to know, because it's just such an issue. Why do we even have to have a problem? We all know that Candy's workaholic, so at this point, let's just let that go. He is benefiting it so wonderfully from all of that. But nevertheless, that was kind of just a quick element there. And of course, we see that, he's working hard. So we'll see how that all pans out. And then we go to the scene with Marlo and her nephews. And let me tell you, for me, I was excited to see that. There's been a lot of healing going on, and you could tell that in the episode. It was really sweet that the boys were actually doing like a taco night for Marlo. I thought that was really nice. And Marlo comes downstairs and she's slightly surprised. They sit down, they chill, they're eating. Marlo does share that her sister has not been in touch with the boy since, her time when she was incarcerated last season. So that's unfortunate. But one thing I do appreciate that Marlo is doing is she's really doing her therapy sessions. And she's also went and got a life coach for her and the boys as well, so they can kind of really work together. And I thought that was a real positive thing to show. And I think it's a real positive thing that they are going through. It will only strengthen them. Marlo still deals with the stigma of the fact that she had to, basically let the boys go to her other sister for like 30 days because she needed a break. And she took a lot of heat from that last season. And some of that was kind of carried over into this season as she was speaking about that and hearing about, her thoughts in regards to Candy, I think, mentioning that. And really, Candy wasn't the only one that had been talking about the fact that she had did that. And it was really hard for Marlo. And that bottom line is Marlo's not a parent. So, does that mean that she can't fit that role? No, it doesn't mean that. But she needed a break. And I think now she's doing some things different, and she's taking some ownership in that to make things different, because like she said, this is for life, right? She feels this is what's going to be. And the boy's already been with her for, I think, 3 years already. So this is what we're doing here. This is the family. She's the Monty, and that's what it's going to be. So that was lovely to see. And the life coach session was great. The boys were involved. They were talking, sharing. I like the concept that they came up with a mission statement. I thought that was good. Something to always aspire to and remember about their function. And I talk a lot about mission statements and stuff in my podcast, and I probably will do a video on my other channel about that as well. I think it's important to have a mission statement. I'm prior military, so I'm a veteran, and one of the things that you learn right off the bat is a mission statement and vision statement. But the thing is this: mission and vision statements don't only happen in the professional setting, right? You can bring them to the personal. So I appreciated that they have a statement. And Marlo, she really wanted to make sure it was just right. And she's kind of just shared, what you got is good as long as it's authentic. You guys all are on the same page with it. It gives you something to hold on to. So when you do have those rough times, when you do have those challenges, because believe them, they're going to come, you have something to hold on to. So I thought that was really precious. It was a beautiful moment. I was so glad to see that. Everybody just seemed to really be getting along, and it seemed easy. And that was really good. So I'm really happy for Marlo and her nephews. I think she's doing a great thing by taking on such a important role. And in this day and age, you need all the care you can get. So at this point, I'm so excited for them. And I think that they're going to be okay. I really do feel like they're going to be okay. And I'll be honest with you, Marlo had such a strong spirit about her that I felt she was going to be okay anyways. Yeah, it was going to be rough. Yeah, it was going to be hard. Yeah, it was going to be challenging, but she was going to get it together. It was going to be okay. And her and the boys were going to be fine because they are fed. They live in a beautiful home, and, they got the best of everything Marlo can give them. So there's that. And I love that, and Marlo finds great purpose in, being there for those boys. And I think that that's just a beautiful thing. So, yeah, I think Marlo's doing good. And I think we give her a pat on the back for that. Now, all the clap backing that we may hear in the rest of the season, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I love the relationship and the way things are going with her and her boys. I really do love that. So that pretty much wraps up that area. Then we move on to basically Sonia arriving at Sheree's house. Now, apparently, like I was sharing earlier, the ladies are, kind of really being friends outside of the cameras, off cameras in the real world. And I like that. IRL relationships are the best. And so apparently Sonia and Sheree, which makes sense, they work out together, right? They're kind of each other's workout buddies. So that was good. And, apparently Sheree's been, wearing all her She by Sheree in the show. So that's good. She's still marketing that, advertising that. People are recognizing that. And they do look good. So yeah, I'm happy for that. So they're having a good time. Really, just there's a lot of love there. And I don't remember if it was so close last season, but apparently they've gotten really close now. So they take some time, work out, kind of check on how each other's doing. Sonia shares about the previous argument that she had with her and her sister, about, boundaries and all that stuff. She asks about the kids for Sheree. Sheree says kids are doing great. So everything is good. And then we get a knock or a ring on the doorbell, and we are then introduced to Courtney. Yeah. Courtney is supposed to be a really close, longtime friend of Sheree's, right? The kids went to the same school together. So they have a really close relationship. Sheree does share that, she's a girl's girl. They have a good time. She's very real, not fake. So that's wonderful. So she meets Sonia as well at the house, and then all three of them decide to go into the kitchen area, sit down. I think they're in the kitchen area, but nevertheless, they sit down, have a little bit of a cocktail, which I always think that's great after you work out, have a cocktail. Why not? You need to reward yourself. And, we get to learn a little bit more about Courtney. She's a marketing advertiser or something. She has a marketing firm, and she has her own jewelry line. So good for her. That's great. Sheree also shares with Sonia that, hey, yeah, Courtney, this is her who I'm going to be inviting to your party, for your husband, for Ross. And so she's like, oh, okay, great. Because, basically this is the first time that Sonia is meeting her. And so Sonia just asks, hey, do you know any of the girls? And she does read off a couple of other people, but then she gets to Candy and she's like, hey, yeah, Candy seems cool, but I heard this rumor. So I'm like, here we go with the rumors. I hear this rumor that apparently Candy is looking around, asking people about me, and I guess heard something about the fact that saying that I said that we were friends or something to that extent. Okay. So you already know what's going left, right? And this is a prelim to the headbutting comment. And I'm just like, here we go again. I mean, these rumors, I'm telling you, with these Real Housewives rumor situations, I don't know. I'm over it, between New Jersey and here and Beverly Hills and oh yeah. And what's the other one? Potomac. I'm just over all of that. I don't know about you, but I am like, enough with the rumors already. Can we just know what's going on in real life? What's going on in your life? What you're doing? Can we stop worrying about what everybody else is saying? And let's just, if there is an issue, let's just go ahead and squirt that away, because it's really not a big deal. This was such a non-issue, but it became an issue because this is Real Housewives. So, kind of in the conversation, not much else more to talk about in there. And then we just mosey right on along to Sonia checking, I think, with her mother on the venue for the party. It looks great. Everything's coming together. Sonia shares that she started off with a $40,000 budget and now it's ballooned to $100,000. But hey, nothing is too good for her man. And I love it. I love it. You love it. I love it too. I mean, at the end of the day, I love. And it's so nice that they have such a strong bond and relationship. I know that they had some challenging conversations in regards to, expanding their family. I don't think that that's happening right now. There just seems to be so much going on. But I believe at the reunion, they were talking about they were going to start it with that, but we haven't heard anything else. Like, again, it's just the first episode of the season, so we don't really know how far this will or will not go. But nevertheless, we're concentrating on the birthday, the party, and I'm excited for that. So, and Sonia's excited too, because it's like her first big main event. And we all like an event with the Real Housewives, don't we? We like an event that you can go to, or we like a location we can go visit, whether it be overseas or anywhere else. We like an event. And so for Sonia to actually be the one hosting this event, I think she really felt a lot of pride in that. And she showed up and showed out for everybody at that party. Oh my goodness. So, like she said, the events she had the previous season were not really parties. This was going to be a party. And she is right. It did not disappoint. I wish I was there myself. I love the whole theme. They went with the Harlem Nights because Ross is into that. And it was really nice. They had the, what do you call those gambling tables and all kinds of stuff. I'm sure they had drinks galore there. Everybody was dressed in the appropriate attire, and it just really looked nice and a lot of fun, and also a breeding ground for drama to ensue. So yes, that's what we end up going right into, but not until we get to kind of just check in with everybody to see them all kind of getting ready, putting themselves together for the events that evening. And of course, some can't be without slipping in a comment or two. And particularly that stands out is Marlo's comment about, Candy and how they're going to get along in this party. And look, she's like, maybe we worry less about this and that since, you're not doing well with Bravo, you're not doing with singing. So I was just like, oh my God. Okay, that's what we're headed. I thought that they had reconciled over chicken last season when they got back from wherever it was they were at last year. So I didn't understand why we were having a problem, but apparently you did. And I think that the only reason they still had a problem was stemming from the comment about the boys, going away for 30 days. But I don't think that's what it was. But yeah, so that's where we are. Everybody's getting ready and getting themselves together. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we kind of move right on into the party. Everybody's arriving. We get to see the actual beautiful entrance between Sonia and Ross. Everybody looked good. Everybody was there. The timing, chef's kiss. It was so good. They did a really beautiful job for that. Everybody was in attire. Everybody. And it also was a time where Courtney decided she was going to confront Candy about this so-called rumor that she shared about earlier. And so she and Sonia, all three of them were sitting, talking and introducing themselves, because Candy, like she shared, she don't know who this lady is. Okay. She, I think, heard of her, but that was about it. Nobody else beyond the person that Candy knew as a mutual person knows this lady. So it just was an issue, a non-issue become an issue, right? And it got but wild a little bit, and it's not very often Candy jumps into headbutting people. As a matter of fact, it's been a long time since I've seen her in that way. I think it was when they did that retreat so many seasons ago. And I just heard that, yeah, that was with Cynthia's sister. And I don't remember that. I just remember how she was gonna, hurt somebody in that piece. I can't remember the rest of what she said, but she was about to fight. She was going down. This is what Candy was not playing. Okay. And so of course, Courtney, shares about the rumor that she heard, says, yeah, at the end of the day, I hear that you're saying and checking around for me and saying that I said that we were friends and I didn't say that we were friends. And what exactly are we arguing about here? I mean, like, what is the big deal? So we're arguing the fact that we're not friends. Great. I think Courtney has potential, maybe as a friend to the show, but I really want her to do it in a different way. And let's not start with the rumor thing, because that's automatically going to turn me off personally. And I think that's going to be that way for a lot of people, because we're just not interested in all of that foolishness. And this was, again, an argument, not argument. So it's a very contrite situation. And I don't know why we were doing it, but they were doing it. So yeah. At the end of that, well, let's just get into it a little bit more. So as she's talking about it, Candy's feeling some kind of way, right? She's feeling, what is all this energy? What is the deal? I don't know who you are. I'm not talking about you. I didn't say anything about you. I don't know who you are. I mean, let's just understand. Let's let that be clear. I don't know who you are. And so she's like, well, I'm going to be clear too. I don't know who you are. And I didn't say, and da-da-da. And I'm just like, oh my God, why are we arguing? And so of course, Candy looks at her and says, why are you bucking up at me? What's your deal? And I mean, every 5 seconds, that's what was happening. And it was a bit aggressive to the point where Sanya had to jump in and say, look, you are being aggressive. She says it's to Courtney, right? You are being aggressive. You're kind of taking it there. Let's just bring it down. And so, Courtney says, well, I'm grown. I can respect that. I can understand that. I'm going off a little bit too much. My bad. I can, be woman enough to say, I'm sorry and that I was wrong. But it wasn't over with that, because of course she couldn't just say what she wanted to say and then leave it. When they continue to keep talking, she's still giving attitude, and that was it. And the next thing you know, we're talking about who's getting out of whose face, and expletives are flying, and Candy's like, look, I'm gonna bet at this girl, right? So yeah, that's not going off to a good start. Yeah, I mean, honestly, so she gets swooed away by Sanya, and then I don't think we see Courtney the rest of the evening. Well, when I say rest of the evening, rest of the evening for the episode of this past episode, because we're going to see a lot more of this party next week. So then we get to the point where we are going back to, what is it, Sheree and Montel and their entrance in. And, Candy can't help herself, because as, Kenya says, hey, the woman of the hour, Sheree. And Candy says, she's not the woman of the hour, not our woman of the hour. I'm like, oh, here we go. So you already know things about to pop off. And that is what exactly does start to happen. So Kenya thought it would be a good idea, because Kenya's great with her timing, right? She thought it'd be a good idea to bring up the fact that, Montel was trying to slide them DMs. Now, I will say this. Sheree felt the energy when her and Montel walked in. She knew that Kenya was up to something. She pointed it out. You're up to something. She could feel it. I think she could feel the heat on her. And Kenya's like, no, we cool. So is this a thing? Are you guys happy? Blah, blah, blah. She does seem happy. She's, he seems okay. He's being respectful in the way that he's, saying hello and all that stuff to them as well. They kind of do walk off. And yeah, Candy and Kenya decide to have a little bit more conversation as they go off to find a seat or go off and mingle. Notice I just missed about something, but I'll go back to it here in a minute. But anyways, so they go off, and Kenya and Candy are talking a little bit more about the situation, still bringing up the fact that there's some rumor or something to the fact of, someone else that he's possibly messing with in Atlanta as well. All alleged, because I don't know for sure. Anyways. So Kenya's like, look, she seems happy, but hey, look, if he's just, just there for a good time, then we're great. I don't think that Kenya is too impressed with this being a relationship thing, in other words. So we'll have to see what happens there, right? Well, of course, Kenya wanted to make sure she elaborated on her feelings and thoughts about things, and really wanted to get things squared away. So she decides to go over there to Sheree and listen about the DMs. And I have to say, Sheree played it real cool, right? Sheree was like, look, okay, he did what? Well, let's go ahead and bring him on. He's right over there. Let's bring him over here. So we know it's about to pop off, because they are going at it. We see the clips for next week, and Kenya's going to let it be known what she feels about him. And I'm going to stop it at that point, because I think it's going to be so good, and they're going to recap a teeny bit of this last episode anyways, right, to get you into the opening. But it is going to be a lot happening, and I think I pretty much covered everything that went on in the first episode. Don't think I missed anything. If I missed anything, drop it down in the comment section or in the chat. Let me know, because I think that was kind of the highlights or the big points that were going on. Yeah, so we'll just have to see. So I'm curious, do you think that the slippage, before we wrap that bit up, I do recall Kenya also sharing about the fact that when it was questioned about, Montel supposedly DMing her, she says, look, I wouldn't be looking at his direction, right? Because she didn't respond. And why would I respond? She said, because anytime he looks at a woman, she pops up pregnant. I was like, oh, wow. But she does share that, hey, Sheree is not going to have that issue. I mean, the shade is so real, isn't it? And it's so continual, but I love it. So yeah, I think this party is going to be turned out for real. We're going to get some extra juice, and Kenya's going to bring it, and I'm excited for it. I love it when Kenya is got her daggers on the right person, the right target, the right area, the right conversation. I think, there was some point where she had made comments in previous seasons that she said, look, I ain't being the villain anymore. But we like it when it goes the right direction or to the right people. The energy goes where it needs to go. I am all here for it. All we're missing, honestly, is Nene walking in. But, hey, it is what it is. Also, too, Kenya and I mentioned and T-Pain were on the Watch What Happens Live right after. And I love it when they have the premiere and then somebody from the show comes on this Watch What Happens Live. So at that time, Kenya did share basically that, hey, yeah, we're good. Everything's good. There's no real problems. We're doing all right. At least she thinks they were doing okay. And of course, there was some questions. You know how Andy likes to do those one of those games and stuff like that. So she had asked some questions and such. And yeah, so I don't know if you got a chance to listen to it, just that little bit there, but I'll share it here. So let's see if I could. Give me a second here and we will pop it up if I can get to it. I was having some difficulties, unfortunately, with some of the other clips that I wanted to show. But we will see if this one will come through. And I'm hoping it will. So we will just see about that. But let me know how you thought about the first episode kicking off for this season. Did you enjoy it? Did you even get a chance to watch it? Do you think that you will continue to watch it? Because I'm going to go ahead and keep, reviewing, recapping, and discussing, because I'd like to know you guys' thoughts about some of the things that are going on. And just, we'll kind of go down the list on some of those things here. But let's go ahead and see if we can add this here. Here we go. And let's just take a listen to this.
Kenya didn't have a lot of nice things to say about Sheree's new guy, so we are giving her a chance to get back on her friend's good side with a round of Spill the Positivity. I'm going to go through some questions about Sheree. I just want you to respond with a positive attitude. What do you most admire about Sheree as a businesswoman?
No, she has great ideas.
What's your favorite item from the She by Sheree line?
Oh, I love a lot of things. I mean, it's hot, and she looks amazing, and her body is sick.
What's the silver lining to the She by Sheree website crashing?
That she could tell everyone that it crashed because it was a lot of people trying to buy it.
What's your favorite interior design choice at Chateau Sheree? Here it comes.
Interior design. She has great taste. The basement.
Yeah,
the basement.
Right. What is Sheree's best physical feature?
Her butt.
Okay.
Yeah, she has a bubble butt. A bubble butt.
What is the best thing about attending an event thrown by Sheree?
Oh, it's gonna be all class. She goes out. She spends money. She spends money.
Tell me one thing Sheree is better at than you are.
Nothing. Sorry.
Yeah, so that was really funny. That was really good. Well, yeah, enjoyed that one. But yeah, so it looks like all is well beyond the actual season for the show, and it looks like they're going to be fine. So I'm happy about that because I don't want them fighting. I think they've always been pretty cool. So like, please don't let them start fighting. It'd be like two titans going at it, and ain't nobody going to be able to be safe. But there is one person that I forgot to mention, that was a no-show and then was a show. And that was, Sadora, right? Yeah, Drew. She was not able to make it to the party. Unfortunately, her father at the time was sick. And what is that guy's name? Ralph. He says, her husband, ex-husband to be, says, there's a family crisis. So he manages to show up. And he says, there's a family crisis. That's why she wasn't able to show up to the party. And I'm just sitting here and I'm all about like how Kenya felt. The crisis, you are married to that. So at the end of the day, if there's a crisis going on, you should be there. But he felt the need that his priority should be at this 40th birthday rather than being with his wife. So I'll say this. It's unfortunate that, Drew is having to go through a divorce, but sometimes a loss is not a loss. And at the end of the day, one of the things that I think is a highlight of this situation, and I know there's may not be many, and not that we necessarily matter in that picture, but it will mean a lot less time, if no more, here soon of seeing Ralph on Rhoa. And I'm all for that. Yeah. So there's that. But, hoping that Drew will be back on the next episode or two from now. And I know it's going to be a challenging season because we all know that they did file for divorce a few months ago. And so all of that is going to start to play out into the Rhoa. So, yeah. I'm just waiting for that. But yeah, so that was basically summed it up. It wasn't too much more really that went on, a lot of focus on the party and the 40th-ness of it all, the beauty of it all of the care that Sonia took into really making this a really nice event for Ross. And I know he appreciated it. It was nice to see the family was doing okay for Sonia, but we know some things are going to start brewing a little bit. Definitely they're going to be probably looking at some people moving out. And I think that's going to be good for their relationship, because sometimes even the biggest of homes, when you have multiple people living in them, they can feel small as all get out. So that's a good thing for their relationship. We're going to see more about how things go on with Sheree and Montel as they go on through the rest of the season. And I think there's going to be some confrontation between him and Candy for sure. I'll be surprised if not, but I think that there will be, because there's going to be some conversation about the comments made about, being an opportunist and all that good stuff. So yeah, we'll see more about that to come. I don't know how Courtney Stay is going to be here, quite frankly. I don't know. I'm hoping that we will see something a little bit different from Courtney. I really want to give her a chance. There's been over the last few seasons, a couple of people who were supposed to be friends to the show that they could have really did without. And I was really glad when we didn't have to see them anymore. But I want to give Courtney a chance. I want to give her a try. I'm hoping that, this will just be not a great moment that she entered in with, but it will be okay. She will work it out and everybody will be fine. So hopefully that will come into play, because at the end of the day, I don't want to see another fallout situation with another one of these ladies like that over someone who is just a friend to the show. Honestly, I do know sometimes it brings the drama that is needed, because sometimes there may not enough drama going on within the lady's life, but then there's also the danger of being so much exposing of that person, and they take over the whole storyline, and I could care less. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with Candy and the ladies too, because there's been a lot of rumblings going on that there's going to be some serious issues happening this season with Candy up against a few of the ladies. So we'll have to see how long that is going to carry on and how serious it's going to be. We'll just have to see. Let me know your thoughts about that. If you've heard anything, if so, what do you think? Do you think Candy's gonna be able to hold her own, or do you think she's gonna, crack under the pressure? We'll just have to see. Candy is a fighter, nevertheless, so she's gonna get done what needs to get done, and I don't think anyone's gonna run her out of town. So, but I'd love to know your thoughts. So drop those down in the chat or in the comment section as well. And also, one cute thing that was debuted is apparently Ace had his acting debut in the KFC commercial. And I thought that was really cute and a really nice way for them to bond and spend time together. Because I know you saw the phone call that they had, which kind of broke my heart, and I'm wondering if she thinks that Todd was kind of putting them up to it a little bit. But, nevertheless, it broke my heart because he's a cute little boy and he just wants to spend some time with his mom. So it was really sweet to see that commercial. They did a really cute job. I love it. It is what it is. So I'm so glad that we got to see a little bit of his acting, because I know that they had mentioned that last season that he was doing, getting himself ready for that. So we didn't know what was coming of that. So to see him on his first commercial, I think that's really cool. So congratulations to Ace. Happy for him. Keep that entrepreneurial spirit in that family. Keep that generational wealth going. So I'm here for it. And he was so cute. It was adorable. I like the whole thing. It was just great. So it was nice to see that debut, and I'm glad that they did it on the first night. So yeah, I think that about does it for this recap and review. I am excited to see what happens next episode, because we know that Kenya's about to pop off on Montel. We already know that. I don't want to give too much away right now, because we're going to get all into it next episode as well, next recap and review. But right now, that is where we are at. I do hope that you enjoyed the information, enjoyed the discussion, the recap, and the review. Let me know your thoughts about the episode, your things that you liked about it, things that that you didn't care for it? Are you still on the fence? Let me know. Are you excited for it? Are you going to give it a chance? Let me know. I would love to know. And I did mention I was going to be doing another live recap. And I will be, and it's going to be for the Summer House of Martha's Vineyard. And I'm actually going to do that tomorrow instead of today. Since I've already done a couple of lives today, I think I'm going to go ahead and wait for tomorrow on that one. I'm looking at 2 p.m. Eastern, so I will definitely put that in the community tab as well. So just be on the lookout for that. I will do my best to kind of put any type of announcements and such on there as well. So that way, if you don't get it in one area, you'll get it in another. So, and I do hope that you will be here for it. So yeah, thank you for being here. And if you are going to be here part of the recap area, thank you for being here as well. If you appreciated the video, I do hope that you will give it a like, give it a thumbs up. It will help me out, of course, and I would so appreciate it. And if you are new here to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, be part of the family. I would love to have you here. And yeah, there's a lot more videos and stuff that'll be coming out. I got a lot more quick takes coming out and so forth and so on. So we are building, we are moving, we got lots coming out here on this channel. So I'm just so glad that you are here and along for the journey. So that being said, I think I'm going to bid you adieu. Make sure that you stay safe. Okay, stay safe because things are crazy out there. Things are crazy. And but yeah, stay safe and be blessed. And until next time. Bye.